اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
افترى على الله الكذب من بعد ذلك, then whoever would make up a lie against Allah, even after that, meaning they, okay, fine, we'll bring the Torah, and they'll put it there, and they'll make up what it's saying also. They even do that. Then فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ, then those in fact are the ultimate wrongdoers. قُلْ صَدَقَ اللَّهِ, tell them Allah spoke the truth. There's something people recite Quran, they say صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ, right? Which isn't necessarily masnoon, but this is something Allah Himself says, صَدَقَ اللَّهِ, Allah spoke the truth. In other words, what Allah revealed is in fact the truth. Had you read the Torah, which was what Allah said, then you wouldn't have made up any other lies. فَاتَّبِعُوا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, then follow the legacy of the nation of the millah. I told you before, compared to ummah, right? Ummah is something unified by cause. Millah is something that is unified by devotion, love, some sentiment. So in a loving way, affiliate yourselves, follow the millah of Ibrahim, Hanifan, solely. Hanifan would be the hal of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Solely dedicated to Allah, focused on Allah Azza wa Jal. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and he had not been from those who committed shirk at all. And it's a refutation. مَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. So we went from one father to another. We went from Israel to his father also, going further back up to his grandfather, really, Ibrahim alayhi salam. Okay, that's important because what's coming next, you need to go back to the grandfather. Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nas. No doubt the first house that was installed for people, for all people, lin-nasi, not for Bani Israel, not for Millat Ibrahim, lin-nas. Lalladhi bi Bakkata, was situated at the location of Bakka. Bakka is the ancient name of Makkah. Quran is extremely intricate and precise in how it uses words. So even something like Bakka as opposed to Makkah, because later on we'll find in Surah Muhammad, Surah number 48, we'll find the word Makkah. And here we're finding the word Bakka. Bibatni Makkata, we'll find in Surah Muhammad. And it's beautiful because here what's mentioned is the historical context of the inauguration of that city. That city comes into being because of the house built, the first house built for humanity for the purpose of worship. So since that historical event is mentioned, what name is more appropriate tied to that? Bakka. So, إِنَّ أَوَّلَ بَيْتٍ وُضِعَ لِلنَّاسِ لَلَّذِي بِي بَكَّةَ مُبَارَكًا وَهُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. It was at the location of Bakka and in a blessed way. Mubarakan. So it was placed there in a blessed way. There's actually even some discussion. It's kind of, it's not really based on concrete evidences, on, implying from this ayah, perhaps Ibrahim alayhi salam was not the first one to build the house, but perhaps it was Adam alayhi salam who built the house. Others say, no, it's inna awwala baytin wudi'a linnas. It's the first house built for people, not by people. So it may even have been there before even Adam alayhi salam came, that Allah put it there. So this kind of conversation exists among our scholars. Allahu a'lam about the truth of that. One day we get to Jannah and we get to ask Adam alayhi salam, hey, so did you build it? No, it was already there. Oh, okay. Or, I built it, yeah. So we'll get to find out. May Allah Azza wa Jal enter all of us into His paradise. وَهُدًى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And it was a means of guidance for all nations, all peoples. So these are the purposes of Makkah, to exceed someone in blessing. And to this day, when you go to Makkah, you are full of blessings. Everything you do is multiplied in its blessings, whether it's Umrah or the sacred act of Hajj. Every salat you make, every tawaf you make, every second of i'tikaf is not comparable. The i'tikaf and the salawat and the du'as are not comparable to dua anywhere else. It exceeds and multiplies. That's Mubarak. Right? And it becomes a center of guidance for all nations and all peoples. Fihi ayatun bayyinatun. And by the way, when we say Hudan lil Alameen, there's a real spirit of Ibrahim alayhi salam mentioned in that. The capital of Islam is supposed to be the Kaaba, yes? And that capital is supposed to be a place from which light is disseminated to all nations and all peoples. Meaning the center of Islam, the physical center of Islam, the Kaaba, is supposed to be the spiritual center of Islam also, not just for Muslims, but also for non-Muslims. It's supposed to do that. It's supposed to disseminate Islam to all of the world. Fihi ayatun bayyinatun. In it, meaning in that location, there are miraculous signs. Ayatun bayyinatun. Maqamu Ibrahim, for instance, here's an example. This is called badal ishtimal, or badal ba'd actually, in this case. In it there are miraculous signs including which there is the station of Ibrahim. That would be an example of some of the miraculous signs. When I went there as a kid to do my first Umrah with my parents, and I first saw Maqam Ibrahim, I was so amazed. And not just Maqam Ibrahim, just to look inside and you see the footprints, I was like, whoa, he had big feet. That's the first impression I had. How did you do that on a rock? How did the rock become soft for Ibrahim alayhi salam? Just so he could be comfortable. He was working, laboring all day to build this house. That in and of itself is, the fact that that remains, and the fact that that's preserved, that in and of itself is a miraculous sign. Other ulama from hadith literature point to a lot of miracles. For example, the jamarat, the pelting of the shayateen, right? How many millions of people have pelted it every single year? The whole city should be buried in pebbles by now. Right? It just should be. And they don't have any bulldozers or anything to clean it up for centuries. They didn't have any such cleanup because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said that the pebbles of those whose hajj has been accepted are lifted. Right? So, subhanAllah. I heard recently they're getting bulldozers though, so I don't know. Scary. Maqam Ibrahim. وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. After all this time now, وَمَنْ دَخَلَهُ كَانَ آمِنًا. Whoever entered it had been in a state of peace. They feel safe. كَانَ آمِنًا. It would guarantee, there would be guaranteed safety. كَانَ آمِنًا. Also, it doesn't just mean that the city is safe and the place is safe and you feel secure and you feel a sense of peace. It's not just that. But actually, whoever entered it with good intention and their hajj was accepted, they did it for the right reason, now they're safe from the hellfire also. It's a cleansing of the next life too. It's a new start. كَانَ آمِنًا. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ. And it is only for the sake of Allah that it is mandated on all people, حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ, the pilgrimage to the house. Now, interestingly enough, the word hijj is also like hajj. We say hajj also, right? And from the same root origin, we get the word hujjah. Hujjah. Hujjah means a case you make against someone when they get stumped and they have no counter-argument left. Okay? We learn Al-Qur'anu hujjatun laka wa alayka. The Qur'an will be a hujjah for you or against you yawm al-qiyamah, on the day of resurrection. What does that mean? Either your allegiance, your affiliation, your sincerity to the Qur'an will be an indisputable case in your favor on Judgment Day, or your lack of regard for the Qur'an will be an indisputable case against you on Judgment Day. But hujjah is something indisputable. What the implication of that for hajj, pilgrimage, the correlation between these two things is, if someone really did make a hajj sincerely and it's accepted by Allah Azza wa Jal, that is a hujjah for them to go into paradise. It is a hujjah for them. They've made their case that they've earned Allah Azza wa Jal's forgiveness. Hijjul Bayt, and they've traveled all that way. So Hijjul Bayti, the pilgrimage of the house, man istata'a ilayhi sabila, whoever is capable. Now Allah started with ala nas. It's mandated on all people, on all humanity, which also is an interesting suggestion that this religion is meant not for a specific ethnicity or for a group. It is a universal religion. Eventually, it's something Allah expects from all human beings, just like they have to spiritually migrate to Allah. Once they spiritually migrate to Allah, they must physically migrate to Allah and do the hajj, right? So there's this correlation between those two things. But then he puts a condition, man istata'a, whoever was capable, ilayhi sabilan, to take a road to him, only to Allah. In other words, whoever is physically capable, and whoever is financially capable, and whoever is capable in terms of their health, etc., they're the ones that are supposed to be able to, or who are mandated to go. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ. So my advice to myself and to all of you, the moment you are capable, and the moment you have the financial means, now we have other restrictions too, right? There's immigration restrictions, there's quotas now, there's financial restrictions, there are, there's all these different things. But the moment you should actually, and I should actually plan for, I need to get rid of all of these obstacles in front of me so I can perform my hijrah to Allah, right? My hajj for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. It should be like a life goal someone has. And it shouldn't be deferred. It really shouldn't be deferred. It should be something that people aspire to do the first moment they possibly can. And they should do it. And you shouldn't also, I know hajj is a long conversation and Abdul Nasser is far more qualified to talk about it tonight, but I'll just address just one quick area before we move on. When you and I are going to go for hajj, you shouldn't look for, your intention should be just to forget the world around you. You should, now we're getting into deluxe packages and like, you know, all kinds of stuff that's taking away from the spirit of the Hajj itself. So many friends of mine that go to Hajj tell me, yeah, I was making tawaf and the guy next to me was, you know, sending text messages. Another one was on the phone. You can't believe where I am right now, bro. It's so hot here. And like, you know, this is not the spirit of the Hajj. You're supposed to leave all that stuff behind. Then people go and all they're doing is like taking pictures, like posing like, Hijr Aswad, you know, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ, victory, baby. You know, come on. You're missing the point. You're supposed to forget dunya. It's supposed to be a simulation of Judgment Day. It's a simulation of judgment. It's what it is. You're wearing the clothes you're going to be buried in. You're around millions of people. And you're standing in front of God. Judgment Day. That's what that's supposed to be. And people are going to be cursing shaitan on Judgment Day. Aren't they? You're the one who did this. And what do we get to do on it before then? You know, and some people get really passionate, start throwing Pepsi cans and slippers and all kinds of stuff. That what Allah says will hurt him. Anything else, you know, don't take blockbusters with you and stuff, right? It's not the point. You're missing the point, you know. But don't allow yourself to forget the spirit of the Hajj. Don't allow yourself to do that. And I think really Muslims, especially in America and the West, we have an opportunity to revive certain traditions. You know, in a lot of Muslim countries, going to Hajj has become almost a status symbol. You get named Haji Saab, or Hajj, you know, and people kind of like boast that they did it, kind of thing. And so in another sense, it's become corrupted. In a different sense, we don't really have that. Nobody cares here. Oh, I did Hajj? Oh, that's cool. Okay. No, nobody cares. It's the society of Abdul Nasser's tag phrase, right? So nobody cares, right? But we do have the opportunity to revive this, you know, this culture of going just to leave the world behind. It's the ultimate i'tikaf. It's the ultimate devotion to Allah, leaving the world behind. That's what Hajj is supposed to be. And it's, you know, and Allah has blessed some people, they get to go every year, and they get to go often. And you know, it's a real gift from Allah for those who get to go. And those who have it, they should really aspire to go. It really does create a sense of bond between you and Allah Azza wa Jal that nothing else really compares. Nothing compares to. So anyhow, may Allah Azza wa Jal give all of us the ability to go see His blessed house and accept our Hajj when we make it. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ, and whoever would disbelieve. Now look, the ayah wasn't about Iman. The ayah was about Hajj. The ayah was about the physical hijrah to Allah. But whoever has refused that physical hijrah, it's like he's refused that spiritual hijrah too. And that spiritual migration is the migration to faith. So Allah just calls it for what it is. And whoever would be ungrateful or the one who would disbelieve, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ, then Allah is free of need. Allah doesn't need you to make Hajj. Allah is free of need from all nations. This is mandated on all people, and Allah needs none of them to make it. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ, say, people of the book, لِمَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ, why do you continually disbelieve in the ayat of Allah, including the ayah of Allah, which is the house built by Ibrahim alayhi salam, which they knew about, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم, they know it like they know their own sons. That doesn't just refer to the messenger, it refers to the Quran, it also refers to the Kaaba. That was built by their father too. And some narrations tell us they changed the name Bakka to Sakka, and they said, we don't know where that is anymore. Right? Just very conveniently altering one letter. Well, we went from Bakka to Makkah, why not Sakka? And then, oh, we don't know where it is, what house he built. Wallahu shahidun, and Allah Himself is witness, ala ma ta'malun, over whatever you're up to, whatever you're doing. Qul ya ahl al-kitab, say people of the book, lima tasudduna an sabilillah. Sadda yasuddu. Sadda yasuddu. Saddan wa sududan. This verb is both lazim and muta'addi. This verb is both intransitive and transitive. What that means is, lima tasudduna an sabilillah, why do you stop yourselves from the path of Allah? That's one. Why do you become obstructed from the path of Allah? Another meaning, why do you obstruct others from the path of Allah? Both meanings. You stop yourselves, you yourselves stop from coming forward, and you make sure others stop from coming forward. So both of those meanings are captured in لِمَ تَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Why do you stop yourselves and others from the path of Allah? مَنْ آمَنَ, whoever would come to believe, تَبْغُونَهَا عِوَجًا, you would pursue some kind of deviation. This tactic of the people of the book has been highlighted. That was a sample of which was already given in this surah. آمِنُوا بِالَّذِي أُنزِلَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَجْهَ النَّهَارِ وَاكْفُرُوا آخِرَهُ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. Believe in what has been revealed to these people, believe in it, go in the daytime and go accept this Islam, hang out with the Prophet ﷺ, and come out in the evening and say, it wasn't all that. There's nothing worth converting for, right? What was that purpose? The whole purpose of it was, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, so they may come back. In other words, they may convert back. Here Allah says, summarizing that, مَنْ آمَنَ, whoever comes to believe, تَبْغُونَهَا عِوَجًا, you find some kind of deviation for them. Iwaj is crookedness, something that's supposed to be straight and it bends, right? It deforms. This is iwaj. You know, people plant like a pole, a tent or something, and over time it deteriorates, it bends, right? This is iwaj. Now, this tactic isn't just ancient. To this day, one of the best invitations to other religions is to just find flaws in Islam. Instead of calling to the merits of that other religion, more energies will be dedicated to how evil Islam is, right? And how contradictory it is, and how wrong it is, and how et cetera, and very little time, if any, will be dedicated to the merits of the religion itself. That is supposed to be the alternative, right? So whoever comes to believe, you're constantly in pursuit of some kind of deviation for them. وَأَنْتُمْ شُهَدَاء, and you yourselves are witness. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ, and Allah Himself is not unaware at all in regards to what you're up to. You know, Muslims sometimes get really fired up about the kinds of conspiracies that are made about Muslims, the kinds of things that are said about Islam and the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ. It's all over YouTube, it's all over the blogosphere, you know. Website after website now dedicated to attacks on Islam, and it's only multiplied, you know, since. So we look at that and we say, you know, this is, you know, why doesn't Allah do something? Why don't we do something about it? Allah says Allah is not unaware at all. He knows every single website and every single server that's holding every single file and every single video and every single production company that made it. Every single one of them. He knows completely everything that's going on. He's not unaware of it at all. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, those of you who have iman, in tati'u fariqan min alladhina utul kitab. If you were to obey, ata'a yuti'u, ita'atan means, one of its first meanings is to obey. But ata'a yuti'u, ita'a also means to pay attention to something. Its other implication is also to pay attention to something. Taw' literally means to volunteer. Also means to turn towards someone willingly. So you know, itiya taw'an aw karhan. Allah commands the heavens and the earth, submit willingly or unwillingly, taw'an. Then if you want to make the, you know, do extra days after Hajj is over and spend a couple of extra days, وَمَنْ تَطَوَّعَ خَيْرًا, or you want to volunteer fast, تَطَوَّعَ, do a little extra. So the second implication of ita'ah is to pay attention. So Allah is saying, if you follow, as a result of doing what? Paying attention to any group, any faction from the people of the book, those who were given the book. يَرُدُّوكُمْ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ, He will reject you and turn you back. Radd in Arabic is something was brought back to you, like you know how you say return the sender? It was sent to the wrong, it was sent back to you, right? Or you return something back to the store, رُدُّ إِلَيْهِمْ رُدُّهُ إِلَيْهِمْ, I returned it back to them. It's unacceptable. يَرُدُّوكُم means it is as though Allah took you into Islam, but when you started paying attention to them, Allah says, you're not acceptable to me, I'm turning you back. يَرُدُّوكُم. And so here, they will turn you back, meaning the people of the book who you'll pay attention to and obey, بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ, after your faith, kafirin, they will turn you back into a state of being disbelievers.